All right, guys, today I'm here to talk to you about different electric fireplace fuel types, or what we want to call different electric fireplace technologies that are out there. There's basically three prominent different ways that electric fireplace can show off visually. One way that it can show itself off visually is going to be the flames are going to be actually water vapor, so your fuel type's going to be water. The second way is going to be what's called a virtual electric fireplace, or a virtual fuel type, where the flame is presented through LCD or LED, actual sort of almost like a television type panel that you see here, and that's really gaining popularity. And then the third and probably most popular way is going to be your traditional LED light bulbs. I'm here to talk to you about the differences between technologies, which one's priced the best, which one's the easiest to install, and quite frankly, which one looks the best. Let's roll. All right, let's start with virtual electric fireplaces. Virtual electric fireplaces are just like it sounds. It's projecting the flame virtually. So it's using film or a recording of a real flame that's on like an LED panel. What are the pros to this? Well, one, it looks very realistic. And now this one in particular is our most realistic, I think, virtual electric fireplace, because you have a high definition image of a real flame. So the fire looks very, very real. That's the pro to it. What are some negatives? Well, with that virtual LED panel, the actual costs to manufacture these, because of the raw materials that are in the fireplace, make it more expensive. So these are gonna be more on the expensive side. And as far as install goes, they're relatively simple to install. There's nothing that makes it a more difficult install over like a traditional LED panel fireplace. Sometimes we have to pay attention to the height or things like that. This has been gaining a ton of popularity. So this has almost become its own category where it wasn't before. I actually recently did a top 5 electric fireplace review on specifically virtual fireplaces. So if virtual fireplaces interest you, go over to our channel and check out that video for a more in-depth review on the top 5. So now let's get to your traditional LED light bulb panel fireplaces. What are the advantages to these? The advantages to something like this is cost. So they are by far, I would say, the most affordable in the bunch. It's also the oldest technology, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but because it's the oldest technology, there's just a lot of them out to market. They've been around for 15, 20 years, but they've been getting better and better slowly. So the good thing is they're very cost effective. So this is like a wall hanging unit. So ease of install is another thing. They can be wall hanging. They can go into a wall. Like this one's only 6 inches deep. Really easy to install. They can go in 2x4 wall, 2x6 wall, 2x12 wall. So they're sort of all over the place. You can get really affordable ones. You can get really expensive ones. Word of caution, this is the technology that you're gonna see like in big box stores and Amazon, things like that. So if you're gonna accidentally find a piece of junk, it's gonna be with the LED technology. So you gotta be careful because there's a lot of bad ones out there. Not so much on the virtual, not so much on the water vapor, but when it comes to LED, there's a lot of bad ones. What else is bad about it? Well, I would say the only other bad thing about them is because it's just light bulbs in there, I would say they look the most two-dimensional, if that makes sense. But some of the upper end brands still do a really good job. So for example, this is the Dimplex Bold. I would probably only steer you towards a couple brands if you wanted the LED ones. I think you can eliminate 90% of what you see. Dimplex would be one of the best ones that are still making LED models. For example, this is one of our best sellers and I think one of our best looking. This is the Evolve, which is like the little brother to that guy. So there's the Evolve, and this fits in a 2x6 wall. It has the best heater in the industry, and I think it still looks very realistic, and it's like very, very well priced. So I think if you get the right one, LED models still check a ton of boxes. It's fully app controlled. It just does everything really well. Doesn't hurt the wallet and still looks really, really solid. So that's why like a unit like this is still really popular, but it's becoming more fewer and far between. You know, versus if you look at more of like a budget model like this guy, you know, you're gonna see the grates, not as clean of lines, just more like your traditional old school electric fireplace. So there's still a lot out there that you gotta be careful of. If you wanted more of a premium unit, you're gonna have to hunt a little bit more. That's where we come in. Call us, we'll help you. You can find the right one. All right, should we get to water vapor? Let's talk water vapor. What do we love about water vapor fireplaces? Well, one, we just love doing this because it's fun. Water vapor is the only flame technically that's actually three-dimensional. So it actually looks really cool because I think when done correctly, it's still one of the most realistic looking electrics. So this is the Net Zero cassette in their firebox with the black reflective panels and the driftwood logs. This is the only one too that allows us to sort of be open concept. So if you like an open concept type of look, where you can actually stick your hand in an open firebox, this is gonna be what you want. Not really seeing a lot of drawbacks so far, are you?
My big question is cleaning. Like, how dusty is this gonna get?
Does get dusty, and then let's talk some negatives. Depending on your water, you could get like calcium buildup on this burner right here. And then you get sort of calcium deposits and it gets gross, and you gotta make sure you clean that, otherwise your flame image won't come out. It'll kind of look like that, and then that won't be good. Some of them have a filter option, but then you gotta have an access panel with the filter. That's really annoying. Other thing is they're usually more difficult to install. So besides that, most of them need a hard water line. So usually for years, the advantage to electric fireplace has always been that you just frame it in the wall, plug it in and go. That's mostly true with this, except plumbing a little water line. Now, it's not a difficult water line. It's the same water line you'd run to a refrigerator or something, you know, like a little guy. Now, this is the Dimplex model, and you can see a major problem with this one. Look at that. That's on the inside and the outside. So cleaning is a problem. Now, I think this one looks very, very realistic, but same type of thing. It's basically a humidifier. So that's another issue. If you're in a state where you don't need any humidity, like Florida or something, that's gonna be a problem. Here in Colorado, it's actually a bonus. But what's nice about this one is this one just mounts right off, and it's a lot easier to clean. And what's cool about this one's kind of the old school one, but it's still standing the test of time because you can manually fill up tanks in here, so you don't have to run a water line to this Dimplex. That's what's nice about it. So in conclusion, when it comes to water vapor, I still think they're one of the better looking ones, especially now that you can do this multicolor. You can do this orange if you want. Oh, that's another thing, see? Like with it open, this is why you can't really do it outside because of that. So wind or someone walking by it will change the flame, just temporarily though. Still one of the best looking. Very expensive still, so it's gonna be on the more expensive side. And then a little more cumbersome to clean, maintain, and install. So more prone to warranty issues with the hard water buildups, things like that, but still awesome. So which one is my favorite? So my favorite, and I think the future of the electric fireplace industry, is gonna be virtual. All right, and here's why. So just like televisions, I'm sure as they start sourcing these panels, the costs will eventually work their way down, and that's just like a raw materials issue. But they basically offer everything that this offers, right? But better looking. The only trade-off we see to it is more expensive. And in fact, I think it has the least amount of warranties, because if you think about it, those are, what do they call that? Steady state panels versus like a moving part, right? The only thing physically moving in there would be when you run the heater. There's no physical moving parts in there, just the blower. So I think these are the most reliable. Versus the LED panels or LED light bulbs, if I were to take this apart, there's actual physical motors moving a flame rod in there that's actually rotating those LED lights. So there's more moving parts in this. Now, that being said, I almost never warranty them because they work really well. But there's even less moving parts in this. So they look better, less moving parts, and I think they're the future. The only trade-off, only negative right now is they're more expensive than this. But these still check almost every single box. So it's definitely one of these two. These still look awesome, but a more limited type of client, I would say. This is the future. This is my favorite. If you're in the market, take a look at our virtual fireplaces. Let me know what you think in the comment section.